Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Talk with Antonio. This is your host, Antonio. Man, are we becoming a fascist country? Are we living under a fascist theocracy right now? Tell me, are we? Yes or no? But according to the MAGAs, we're not. But to the rest of the country who are still saying they don't believe in the fucking lies that this orange fuck every time he opens his mouth says, we are becoming like a fascist country right now because our freedom is under attack right now. Because what I mean by that is because right now, this country right now is being under attack right now by the Trump administration. But what I mean by that is because right now, this guy wants to censor everything. He wants to censor Antifa. He wants to censor people recording these terrorists, ICE. He wants to censor the FCC. The FCC wants to censor everything right now that doesn't align with the Trump administration. Like right now, what's going on with CBS and all that stuff. Ever since they fired Stephen Colbert, and suppose they want to go into a different direction because right now, because they want to fucking kiss ass of the kissing the ass of Donald Trump right now because they're like, oh, Trump's like everything according to him is treason. And what do I mean by that is, okay, I'll give you an example. Okay, we all know about Antifa. Everyone, like, you know how Trump says that officially on September 2025, Donald Trump officially designated Antifa as a, quote, domestic terrorist organization, unquote, via an executive order in September 2025, directing federal agencies to investigate, disrupt, and neutralize its networks. The Department of Justice has since utilized this designation to bring terrorism charges against Antifa-linked individuals. And you know what I mean by that? Right now, again, this guy wants to went after in the state of Minnesota, arresting people who are bringing charges like Antifa charges, arresting them because of their recording ICE and supposedly causing disruptions. Look what happened to Alex Preddy and the young lady who was shot. And you know, it's just fucking sad that now, if this guy wants to arrest you just because you're recording these guys, these mass Gestapos, these motherfuckers are the terrorists. And I'm talking about ICE right now. So basically, you could get arrested just for recording these motherfuckers? Is that it? Are we gone so far down this hole that I firmly believe it's going to take a long time for the United States to get out of this shit? And you know, it sucks that because right now, this sorry piece of shit, and I don't give a fuck what people say. Oh, he's the president. You should respect. Respect is earned, not given, motherfuckers. I've always said that. For one, this guy has never earned my respect. He likes to insult people, poke fun of their weight, like calling Alicia Machado, former Miss Universe, Miss Piggy. He likes to make fun of Governor Pritzker, for the governor of the state of Illinois. He likes to make fun of Chris Christie, calling him all these names. And this is the same. This is the same guy who likes to poke fun of people because of their weight and all that stuff. Motherfucker, you know what you are, dude? You're like Frankenstein. You're like a living, walking corpse. And I'm surprised that what's keeping you alive. You're always like with these fucking swollen ankles, like all the makeup couldn't even cover like the bruising on your hands and all that stuff. Yet somehow you say that you're in perfect health. If you're in perfect health, then I'm Madonna, dude. All the shit that comes out of your mouth is just a fucking lie. And you know, it's funny how you like to refer Antifa as a domestic organization. Look at this. It says here, legal debate. Legal and terrorism experts argue that, quote, domestic terrorism is not a chargeable offense under federal law. Scholars point out that just because Antifa is a decentralized ideology rather than a formal organization with a central leader or membership roles, the designation faces legal challenges. You know, this guy likes to say that because they don't align with his ideology. You know, foreign designation talks. The administration has also explored the possibility of labeling Antifa, quote, a foreign terrorist group, which have sweeping implications for civil society and social media organizations. There's more. Federal crackdowns. Administration officials have deployed federal assets to disrupt protests and target Antifa networks across various cities. Civil liberties concerns. Civil rights and watchdog groups warn that designated subscription to an ideology as terrorism could be weaponized to target progressive nonprofit organizations and First Amendment protective activities. And you know, it's funny. Look what it says here. He wants to charge people just because they record ICE. Because ICE is doing his dirty fucking work. You know what I'm saying? And this is just absolutely silly that this guy gets to do whatever the fuck he wants. And right now, I am getting fed up. And you know, right now, come November of this year, the Democrats are going to bring the hammer down against this orange fuck. You know, it's funny. Look at what it says here. I'm reading on the whitehouse.gov. It says here, the Trump administration delivers another crushing blow to Antifa terrorist network. And then, you know, they like to fucking emphasize on the terrorist network. Because it's funny how this dude labels Antifa, quote unquote, domestic terrorist organization. If that's the case, how come he hasn't done the same thing to the KKK? That's what really bothers me, because the KKK is a far right terrorist, or that is the oldest terrorist group in the United States of America. But yet somehow he doesn't go after them because they quote unquote fit the ideology of him. Because because according to Donald Trump, he wants to make the United States white again. And all these people say, oh, they're the alpha males and all the beta males. And I saw a guy who, oh my fucking God, oh my God, he fucking crushed these MAGA 20 women who are like MAGAs. And there was this one chick who said that Trump is an alpha male. I'm like, get the fuck out of here with that shit. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you guys really gone so far the rabbit hole that you really want to call Trump an alpha male? That is absolutely mind fucking blowing. You know what I'm saying? All the shit that's going on in this country right now it just really flabbergasts me, and all this shit that's been going on. And you know, like I said, sorry if I got off track because I really had to say this. Look what it says here. I'm reading this on whitehouse.gov. It says here, June 17th, 2026. Last year, President Donald Trump designated Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization and directed the full power of the federal government to hunt down, disrupt, and dismantle the violent anarchist network. This week, the Department of Justice struck another decisive blow by charging 15 Antifa-linked terrorists in a conspiracy to violently obstruct lawful immigration enforcement operations in Minneapolis. It says here, look what it says here. These charges are the latest in the Trump administration's relentless campaign to eradicate Antifa's domestic terrorism threat. Minnesota. Yesterday, 15 Antifa operatives were charged with coordinating violent attacks on ICE agents and facilities during Operation Metro Surge in Minneapolis, where they deployed blockades, vehicle tracking, intimidation, and other militant tactics to sabotage the operation. In February, a self-described Antifa member was charged with cyber-stalking and threatening ICE officers. Okay, I don't condone that behavior in terms of threatening these fucking Trump pigs. I agree with letting people know what's going to happen. That is something I've always like. I've seen other videos of people saying there's this one fellow who I will not name. He's very active on Instagram, and he lets people know. He starts blowing the whistle saying "La migra, la migra," and that's something that Trump doesn't like that. And they want to arrest people just because they want to let people know, because these are the real terrorists. ICE are the real terrorists, and I don't care if they get offended by that, you know. And they want to arrest people just because they want to let them know that these fuckers are coming in. They want to arrest that? Give me a fucking break, you know. And it says here, look, the state of Oregon, since mid-2025, dozens of Antifa militants have been arrested and charged with multiple convictions already secured following the prolonged siege against the Portland ICE facility. Rioters repeatedly assaulted officers, lobbied incendiary devices, and engaged in sustained attacks on federal personnel and property. I haven't heard anything about that, but they don't report it at all. They don't want to. They want to report it. The only people going to talk about us are people on Fox News like Jesse Waters, whatever that fucking fuckface name is, and that other little fucking Trump simp Sean Hannity. Okay, now in the state of Texas. In March, 9 members of the North Texas Antifa cell were convicted on terrorism-related charges, in addition to 7 others who pleaded guilty for their violent armed ambush on an ICE detention facility. Washington. In May, multiple Antifa insurgents were convicted on federal conspiracy charges for their roles in a violent attack on Spokane ICE facility. New Jersey. In May, an Antifa thugs violently laid siege to a Newark ICE detention center, resulting in dozens of arrests and federal charges. California. In Antifa. In December, Antifa extremists were charged in a coordinated bombing plot targeting multiple businesses, ICE agents' vehicles, and other sites across Southern California. Indiana. An Antifa-linked terrorist was sentenced for threats to bomb government buildings and assassinate prominent politicians. The Trump administration has made it clear Antifa terrorists and their networks will be investigated, disrupted, prosecuted, and neutralized with the full force of federal law. There will be no safe harbor for those who attack law enforcement, obstruct lawful immigration enforcement, or wage campaigns of political violence against the American people. Whoa. That is something I do not agree with this fucking... As usual, these fuckfaces lie. Against the American people. Why? Antifa is just warning people of what's coming, especially with your fucking terrorist group, ICE. They're just warning people. Violence against the American people? Motherfucker, who are you trying to fool around? Who are you trying to fucking lie to? And look what it says here at the end. President Trump's leadership has already produced results, and this is only the beginning. Beginning of what? You're 2 years left in your administration, and yet somehow you say that you're going to be out at 8 or 9 years. Motherfucker, you're going to be fucking dead, buried 6 feet under. This is the only beginning. And you know what's funny? As I said at the beginning of this episode, how we're under attack, our freedoms are being under attack just because Trump and his cronies are don't like the fact that they say something about the administration. Motherfucker, you ever heard of the First Amendment? Freedom of expression? Freedom of speech? But according to you, the Trump administration, it only applies if it's your ideology, if it's them. Like, for example, if a Republican wins an election, oh, it was fair and square. But if a Democrat wins, oh, it's rigged, motherfucker. You fucking say that all the time because we all know for I don't like to believe in conspiracy theory because I'm not a believer in that bullshit. But there's always been talk in the internet that the only reason you won the 2024 election is because of Elon Musk influence, because he has a lot of money and he could have influenced and everything. I hear that a lot, but like I said, I don't believe in conspiracy theories. I'm not going to get into that. But if, like I said, if a Republican wins, oh, elections were won fair and square. But if a Democrat wins, oh, the election must have been rigged. You still keep talking about the 2020 election that it was rigged. It was not fucking rigged. Get into your thick skull filled with fucking cholesterol, with in your cholesterol infected brain. Because that's what it is. You say it was rigged, and you keep saying that shit everywhere around the world, that the 2020 election was rigged. You keep talking shit about President Obama. It's funny. I'm so glad that you and to the rest of the Trump administration have President Obama and President Biden living rent-free in your heads, because all you ever do is talk shit about President Obama. You call him a son of a bitch at the G7 over there in Europe. And right now, the President Obama's library was open. A shitload of celebrities went there. Former President Bill Clinton, former President Biden, that thing, Bush, all the other first ladies went in attendance, and a lot of celebrities went to go do the celebration at President Obama's library. And then that plastic twat Lara Trump said, "Oh, it was not. It doesn't mean anything." Like, motherfucker, like, and this twat says that they're gonna talk about the presidential library of Trump. No one's gonna give a fucking. I'll bet dollars to donuts if they built the library of Trump, they're gonna fucking burn that shit to the ground. And yet Trump says that the Prime Minister of Italy wanted to take a picture with him. But yet she fucking brought the hammer down on this stupid motherfucker, But like I said, sorry if I got off track and started going on this rant against this piece of shit. Like right now, we can't, I've been saying this for a while, that TV is also like being controlled. You can't say shit about this current administration. Like, for example, look what's going on here in Southern California with Channel 7, ABC 7. Look at this right here. Okay, tell the FCC to keep KABC TV on the air today, Monday, June 22nd, 2026 at 12:28 p.m. It says here, Los Angeles, KABC. No one supports your community like Channel 7, but the FCC questions that commitment. Show your support for KABC that you still have until July 29th to tell the FCC to keep KABC on the air. For more than 75 years, we have been devoted to your needs by informing and entertaining. And there's like a little, if you want to support that, go to abc7.com and to support Channel 7. And it's, oh my God. And who runs the FCC? That little fucking Trump simp, Brendan Carr. It says here that Brendan Carr serves as the chairman of the FCC. The commission is directed by a 5-member board, which currently includes Commissioners Anna M. Gomez and Olivia Trusty alongside the chairman Carr. And it says here, let me see, look what it says. Who has power over the FCC? Leadership. The agency is directed by 5 commissioners who are appointed by the President of the United States, confirmed by the U.S. Senate. And it says here, does Trump oversee the FCC? Yes. While the Federal Communications Commission is historically an independent agency overseen by Congress, President Trump has placed it under increased White House supervision. And we all know why. Because they don't like the fact that other TV shows, like The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel, is anti-Trump. They wanted to get it shut down. And Trump always talks about ratings and this and all that stuff. And right now, what's going on right now with the Lincoln Memorial Pool, like if you even take something, you can go to or mess it up, federal officers will show up and arrest you, and you could go to jail for 10 years. But it's funny how if you even just go take something from the pool from Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., if you even do something, you'll get 10 years in jail. But somehow, if you steal something from the White House or the Capitol building during the January 6th insurrection, you get a fucking full pardon by this guy. It's unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen, what's going on in this beautiful nation right now. And also right now, this guy wanted to celebrate the 250 and the concert or whatever that shit is was canceled. And like right now, the UFC event happened already, and the White House lawn is fucking destroyed. It's destroyed. Everything that this guy touches turns to fucking shit. And it sucks, it just really hurts it really hurts my heart that seeing all this shit that's happening right now, all this fucking bullshit, the White House lawn is destroyed. Everything that's been happening right now in the White House, it's always is run by an egotistical egomaniac who got drunk with power. And yet the Republican Party bows down to this piece of shit right now. And it sucks, because what happened to this country? Even under the leadership of under this guy, like I've never been a fan of George W. Bush. But at least this guy had the decency to ask Congress first. Yet Trump doesn't do jack shit. He does whatever the fuck he wants, and the Republican Party, let him do it. He's the president. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. But imagine if President Obama would have done that, or even President Biden would have done all the fucking shit that this dude's doing. The Republicans would have had articles of impeachment. Trump has done more than abuse he has like abuse of authority, abuse of everything. But it's just swept under the rug. But if I remember correctly, in January of 1998, when the Monica Lewinsky scandal was finally exposed, they wanted to impeach President Bill Clinton. Republicans knew at that time that what President Bill Clinton did was not an impeachable offense. But yet somehow they did it. And they wanted to impeach him for abuse of power, telling people to lie. And that little weasel, Lindsey Graham, did a fucking speech in Congress that they wanted to, impeachment is to clean the office. And if that's the case, then they should, if they do impeachment, this will never happen. They always let Trump off the hook. They will always let this guy off the hook. But with President Bill Clinton, Lindsey Graham said, impeachment is the cleansing of the office. Okay, they're not going to impeach Trump. But if that's the case, once this motherfucker leaves, they got to clean the White House, anything that was touched by that guy. As I said before, everything that Trump touches turns to fucking shit. And everything that right now, that this is what's happening right now, especially what's going on with Iran, and this guy wants to go back and wants to go bomb the country. Under the leadership of Donald Trump, the United States has terminal cancer. And if nothing gets done, the United States is going to die. This guy wants to control everything. What the fuck you want to say on radio, on TV. They can't do shit on people who have podcasts. That's the beauty of it. That's what I like about this shit. I can say whatever the fuck I want. I can say whatever the fuck I want, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it, Trump. That's what I like about other podcasters who talk about what's going on right now. We have that freedom. Unfortunately, with radio, with regular radio, this motherfucker controls it. On TV, unfortunately, They can control it. Oh, there's another thing they can't, but there's one area of the radio they cannot control, which is satellite radio. Sirius XM, they cannot control whatever the fuck. They cannot control anything there. So fuck you. You know. And I'm sorry I went on this long rampage. It just really pisses me off that right now we can't. Other like people on TV can't say anything about Trump because they get all butthurt and they want to say, oh, they want to remove their license and they want to revoke their license. Especially right now, what's going on here in Channel 7. What the fuck is that? You know. The FCC wants to revoke the license of Channel 7 KABC here in Southern California. Unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. But there's an old saying, nothing is forever. We're just 2 years left. But right now, November 2026, midterm elections are coming out. So right now, Trump is doing whatever the heck he wants. He's making all these bogus stuff that doesn't even benefit the people. Like he doesn't give a flying fuck what's going on towards people here in the United States of America, especially the middle class. He only sucks up to the fucking rich corporations and rich people like Elon Musk. I don't know about Elon Musk, but Elon Musk's still fucking kissing his ass. People like Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, all these rich cronies of his. Like, did he lower gas prices? Did he lower the food? All the stuff that he said in the election, all the people that voted for it, and just hook, line, and sinker. They all drank the purple Kool-Aid of this guy. And right now, he doesn't give a fuck. And also, he kept saying made all these promises. He fucking lied to people. He's a liar, you know. He's a liar and a con artist. That's what Trump is. But like I said, we only have 2 more years left of this guy. All we can do now is just wait. And yet somehow, you know, it's funny. Every time I talk about this, I always see videos of people are so like enamored of how they're so devoted to Trump. They put all these flags and all that stuff. And I saw a chick who on Instagram who was saying, nice to know that this guy gargles Trump's balls. Because he was driving a truck on, I believe it was Myrtle Beach in South Carolina, and it said Trump 2028. Like, I don't know if this guy is stupid or he can't read, but Trump that's the word, cannot run for a 3rd term. But as I mentioned it before, people like Steve Bannon, whatever that potbelly fat fuck, saying that Trump is going to win a 3rd term. Like, he actually believes that. And every time this guy says that Trump is going to win for a 3rd term, I always say, what a vivid imagination this guy has. And Trump keeps saying the same thing. Oh, I'm going to run for a 3rd term. You can't. And yet somehow MAGA has noticed that when a person says Obama 2028, he says, "Oh no, he cannot run for a 3rd term. That's against the Constitution." The same goes to your fucking orange fuck. You know, he cannot run for a 3rd term, but yet somehow they actually live in this fantasy world. Actually, I take it back. MAGAs can say whatever the fuck they want because, you know, they have their right. They have all this thing that they can say all these glorious things about Donald Trump. Oh, he is one of the best presidents. They can make videos online saying, oh, he is my president and all that stuff. He's the best of all time. Good for them. I respect that. But at the same time, there's a thing called fantasy land. Like, none of the things that this guy says has ever come true. He bankrupted all of his businesses. Trump airplane, Trump vodka, Trump everything. He's a fucking loser. You know, and yet he says that he lies about everything. He doesn't keep his word. And like I said, we only have 2 more years left of this guy. And the midterms are coming up. And the Democrats are going to bring the hammer on this motherfucker. That's when they're going to fucking, he's going to like put like he will not be able to do whatever the fuck he wants once the Democrats are in control. That's for sure. So, like I said, only 2 more years left. Time will fly by fast. and we will have to see here, or if he is alive, that is. But if he's alive, I don't know how the hell he's still alive for all that long. So that about wraps up for this week's podcast. Thank you all for listening. You can find me if you want to. You can find me on Instagram, and also click the link below on my Spotify. You can find me on Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, on YouTube. Also click the link below. Click the like button and subscribe, please. And for next week's episode, I will talk about. This is going to be wrestling related. I will talk about the induction of the late Psycho Sid, or Sid Vicious, into the WWE Hall of Fame, and also how his son said that was like a very disrespectful way of how his father was inducted. I will give you a little bit of preview about that. I do have something against that, because how come they didn't induct Sid while he was alive? I've always had like this problem with WWE never inducting people while they're alive, and yet some are still ignored and just never mentioned. I will talk about that. So that about wraps up for this week's podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for listening, and I will see you next week. Good night.